Hey, we're here to learn how to adjudicate plays properly. Let's get started. Greetings and welcome back to the Basketball Rules Expert, the show where we take National Federation of High School Basketball rules and we lift them off the printed page, breathe life into them, simplify, clarify, amplify, so that we can take the rules with us onto the basketball court where it is most important. Greetings again, everybody. My name is Greg Austin with abetterofficial.com, and I've been a high school basketball official here in the San Francisco Bay Area for over a decade. I consider myself to be very knowledgeable about the rules of high school basketball, and this show is all about helping you on a journey to becoming a basketball rules expert as well. Allow me to thank our fantastic channel supporters, Les O'Connor Jr., Tony Dye, Amílcar Garcia, Gerald Masucci, and Phil Haddad. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? You can always head to abetterofficial.com/coffee. There'll be a link above and in the show notes below. Tremendous. All right, today we are going to continue our look at test questions, the fundamentals that support those test questions and the rules that we need to know so we can take so we can take our rules knowledge onto the court and adjudicate plays properly. Let's take a look at our first rules question. A1 begins his dribble outside his three-point arc. Dribbling towards his basket, he touches the ball with both hands while his right foot is touching the floor inside his three-point arc. To create some space between himself and the defender, he jumps back off that right foot and lands on both feet simultaneously outside the three-point line. A1 then jumps off of both feet and releases a try that is successful. A, this player has traveled when after ending his dribble, he lifted his right foot, which was his established pivot foot. B, this is traveling violation because the player established his right foot as his pivot foot, lifted it from the floor, then placed it back on the floor again. That sounds legit. C, this is legal, and the successful three-point signal should be given by the official from whose PCA the player attempted the shot for goal. Or D, this should not be ruled a traveling violation, but A1 should only be awarded 2 points due to when the act of shooting originated. Okay, so this is one of those rules questions or test questions that has a lot of words. We got to have some comprehension here. It's a lot of pressure on me, man. But this is a situation where we have a ball handler dribbler. They terminate their dribble with 1 foot on the floor. They jump off of that foot and land on 2 feet, then go up and release the try. Jump off 1, land on 2, release the try. Is that legal footwork by rule? That's the question on this play. And then the other question is, well, wait a minute. Okay, so if it is legal, then should it count as 2 points where the player started their habitual throwing motion, or where they ultimately left the floor? That's our question on this play. And of course, the correct answer here is C. This is legal and a successful three-point goal. The signal, first, the shot should be marked by the official from whose PCA the player attempted the try for goal, because this is a three-point try by rule. The player ultimately left the floor from this position. This is a situation that is often gotten wrong, and with point of emphasis this year being traveling, This is one that can catch officials off guard because they see the player, well, they had their left foot pivot foot, and then that pivot foot came back to the floor. And I know if the pivot foot returns, right? But the little exception within the traveling rule is a player is allowed to jump off of 1 foot holding the ball and land on 2 feet simultaneously. Now, many players, when they do a step back move like this, leave off of 1 foot, land on 1 foot, then the other foot, right? And it is not simultaneously. Now, while we may offer some room for error when a player, lands, their feet land very closely, and we rule that to be simultaneously, most players, when they try to execute the James Harden step back, land with 1 foot, then land with the other foot in this situation. So our correct adjudication on this play is C. This is legal, and the successful 3-point signal should be given by the official from whose PCA the player attempted the shot for goal. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, let's look at another rules question. A1 is located in the backcourt and passes the ball towards the front court. B1, located in the front court, taps the ball back towards the backcourt. A1 jumps from the backcourt, catches the ball before it hits the backcourt, then lands in the front court. The officials rule a backcourt violation. A, correct? B, incorrect. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of question we want. There's not a lot of words. Is this the correct ruling on the play? So what do we need? We need 3 elements always to have a backcourt violation. Team control on the court, last to touch in the front court, first to touch in the backcourt. If those 3 conditions are met, we have a backcourt violation by rule. In this situation, A1 is located in the backcourt. We have team control on the court, passes the ball toward the front court. B1, located in the front court, taps the ball backwards. So B1 is a player on the defense. B1 is located in the front court. So when B1 contacts the basketball, the ball has gained front court status. Okay? A1 bats the ball back. A1 jumps from his backcourt, catches the ball before it hits the backcourt, then lands in the front court. The officials rule a backcourt violation. Okay, this is more of a puzzler than we thought. Okay, so we have to understand status. The ball has backcourt status. The ball has front court status. The ball then has backcourt status. Do we have a violation by rule? In this instance, the correct answer is no. No, we do not. This is not a backcourt violation by rule. While the ball gained front court status, the opponent was the last to touch the ball in the front court. So, in order to have a situation where we have a backcourt violation, we have to have all 3 things. Did the team in control of the ball, were they the last to touch in the front court? No, they were not. This also brings up the rules exception, or the rules interpretation from 2007, which would have made this a violation. It existed for about 10, 12 years. And then they finally corrected it and said, no, this would not be a violation. So this one can catch you off guard, and this is going to take some processing time in real time, baby. That is a straight up fact. All right, let's move on to our next rules question. A1 is dribbling in her backcourt when she stops her dribble and throws the ball into her front court, where it hits an official who is inbounds and rebounds high into the air. A1 hustles into her front court, where she is the first to touch the ball before it hits the floor. The official should A, allow the play to continue as nothing illegal has happened. B, rule a backcourt violation since A1 was the last to touch, first to touch. C, assess a dribble violation on A1. Or D, award an alternating possession throw-in since the official inadvertently interfered with the play. Well, that's a fine how do you do. So A1 dribbling in her backcourt. She stops, terminates her dribble, throws the ball into the front court where it hits an official who is inbounds, and the ball rebounds high into the air. Sorry, ref. Right? She runs into the front court and catches the basketball. Is this legal by rule? Oh, merciful heavens. More processing. Well, first of all, award an alternating, let's look at D. Award an alternating possession throw-in since the official inadvertently interfered with the play. The official is part of play when they are on the court. If this ball had contacted the official out of bounds, the ball would be out of bounds by rule. If the official is on the court, they are part of play. When the ball hits an official and rebounds, let's hope it hit him on the shoulder, right? And rebounds high into the air, not off the dome. Has something illegal happened on this play? Is this a backcourt violation, right? The ball was in the backcourt. The ball gained front court status when it hit the official. And then the player runs into the front court, I assume, into her front court, so she has established front court status and catches the ball. So this would not be a backcourt violation by rule. So the question is this a legal dribble, or do we allow play to continue, right? Player was dribbling in the backcourt and terminated her dribble. She then passed the ball to the front court. Let's imagine that the official, by rule, is just basically part of the court. Let's say she had thrown the ball ahead with some backspin, right, to a spot on the court where there were no defenders, and then she ran to that spot and collected the ball. Is that legal? No, it's not. Once the player has terminated the dribble and released a pass, they cannot then be the first to touch that pass. That would be an illegal dribble by rule. Our correct ruling here is C. Assess a dribble violation. This would be an illegal dribble violation on A1. Oh, man. You know, whenever a rules question like this, like if we did a word count on this, it's probably 100 and maybe 75 words. On a test question, sometimes we can get waylaid by, I think it's going in the backcourt, whether this is a backcourt question, and we can miss something that's potentially super obvious. When I first viewed this question, I was not thinking illegal dribble. And again, this would be something that would, if we did come up with an illegal dribble violation, it may take some processing time on this one for sure. Especially if the official who was hit put the ruling on the play. But this is an illegal dribble by rule. The player in the backcourt has terminated their dribble. The official, even though, right, we think like if it touched another player, then that player could touch it, but the official is not a player and has the status of simply the floor or the backboard, right? We'd all be very familiar. Players in the backcourt dribbling the basketball, throws the ball towards their opponent's basket because they're confused. It hits the backboard, goes to the other side, and they are the first to recover, right? That's an illegal dribble by rule because they had terminated their dribble, essentially thrown the ball off of the floor, and then been the first to touch. Illegal dribble by rule. We go through how many games and this occurs, right? Well, I've officiated, I did my first 3 seasons and I did about 75 games a season, and this never happened in any of my games. Come on, this is not a thing that happens. So when it does happen in your game, it's fully understandable that it's going to take some processing time, right? But again, we always like to emphasize in terms of meat and potatoes for new officials, the basics are going to be where we are successful. And when things happen in the obscure corners, so this play, let's say this play happens in your game. You're a new official. It happens in your game. You said, oh my gosh, that is extremely funny. I'm processing whether that was a backcourt violation, right? The ball hit me. I was embarrassed. I didn't put a whistle on the play. What's the process? I start my game. I adjudicate. When something's illegal that I know is illegal, I put a whistle on the play. Straightforward, right? If my partner has something and comes in and says, hey, I have a violation on the play, that's great. But if we don't have anything on the play, I'm going to put that play into my memory bank, and I'm going to say, after this game, I'm going to go look this up. Something funny happened in my game. My reaction was to not put a whistle on the play, even though there may have been some energy on the bench or what have you, because I did not know that it rose to the level of illegal. That's my fundamental process and principle. If I do that, I'm going to be successful. Now, a play occurred in my game, and I got it wrong. This should have been a violation. I did not know that. I go back, I look into the rules book. Oh my gosh, I never even considered double dribble or illegal dribble on this play. Wow, okay, now I know. Now I know, right? And I move forward. And I go to my next game, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. But now my knowledge bank has been enhanced just a little bit, and I know one more thing that's potentially illegal. But if we go in and say, look, I see stuff happening. I know that's unusual. I've never seen that before, but I'm waiting for that illegal, that I know it's illegal, and then I'll put a whistle on the play. I'm going to repeat that cycle. I had 3 things in my game today that happened that I didn't know. I want clarification on. I had some uncertainty, right? I didn't want to put a whistle on it because I didn't know, but I had some uncertainty. So I look at those 3 things. Maybe I go to a Facebook group. Maybe I go to the obviously go to the rules book, case book. If we have an answer, we don't. Maybe we can get some feedback from others in a Facebook group or a cohort of other young officials that you may be communicating with, or a mentor, or a rules interpreter for your association. All of these things, I get the knowledge. Now I'm better prepared. I go back out and I just do the same thing. Call what I know is illegal. Don't put a whistle on things that I don't know are illegal. And it's a great successful formula for new officials. And they just get better and better rules knowledge from the things that happen in their game. So I definitely encourage young officials to take that approach and go. Get better. Bang out 2 more rules questions. Let's look at another rules question. Team A is in the bonus. A1 is in the act of shooting, but has not released the ball. B2 pushes A2, who is setting a legal screen for A1. The official calls a foul on B2 just before A1 releases the ball for a try, and the ball goes into the goal. A, score the basket, count the goal. Team A gets a throw-in nearest the spot of the foul. B, count the goal and award bonus free throws to A2. C, disallow the goal and award bonus free throws to A2. Or D, count the goal and award a free throw to A2. This is a continuous motion question. Continuous motion, definition for which is Rule 4-11. Ask Jason Hayes. He knows. And continuous motion suggests that a player who's begun their habitual try for goal will be allowed to complete that activity, and the result of that activity will count if there is a foul by any defensive player. Okay? Our shooter in this situation was not fouled, but since there was a defensive foul after they had begun their habitual shooting motion, is that how we have it? Act of shooting, but has not yet released the ball, right? Continuous motion allows us to complete that activity, and the results of that activity will count. So in this situation, we are going to count the goal. Now we have to adjudicate the foul, right? Team A is in the bonus. A Team A player was fouled. So we are going to resume. We need to penalize that foul and award the bonus free throws. So we are going to score the goal, and we are going to award those bonus free throws with players in marked lane spaces and move forward. So our correct answer on this play is B. Count the goal and award bonus free throws to A2. While the player was shooting, but before they had released the try, if we have a foul by a teammate, the ball becomes dead by rule. So the try is released after the ball has become dead. If the player released the try and then we have a foul, right, by a teammate, that would be a foul. The ball has not become dead, and we would count the result of the try, and then we would adjudicate the foul, right? Since there was no team control after the release, all of the things, if Team B was in the bonus, they would get bonus free throws. Let's do it. Let's take a look at another rules question. One more, and we'll get out of here. The referee is ready to toss the ball to start the game. As the official is tossing the ball, B1, who is not on the center circle, moves to a different position on the court. This is legal, since B1 did not enter the restraining circle. A, that's correct. B, that's incorrect. Oh, fantastic. Right? So, as we've outlined previously in our full coverage of jump ball rules and restrictions, link above, we talk about rules of restrictions. So we have jumpers, we have players on the restraining circle, and then we have players who are not on the restraining circle. What are the activities that are allowed and not allowed? In this situation, we have players who are not on the restraining circle. A player who is not on the restraining circle moves to a different position on the court. There is no restriction on the movement of those players or the position of those players who are not on the center restraining circle. It's a myth that many officials hold on to, that those two players who are 15 feet off the circle have to stand side by side. They can't have an overlap. There's a restriction of some sort on them. There is no restriction on the location or the movement of those players, except a player who is not on the restraining circle may not move onto the restraining circle as in this instance. So our correct answer by rule is A. The officials are correct. This is legal since B1 did not enter the restraining circle. I'd say move onto the restraining circle. This is legal since B1 did not enter the restraining circle. Hey, thanks for joining us today on Basketball Rules Expert. If this is the content that you find valuable, now would be a great time to do all the things. Hit like, subscribe, notify so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday. Allow me to thank our fantastic show supporters, Les O'Connor Jr., Tony Dye, Amílcar Garcia, Gerald Masucci, and Phil Haddad. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? You can always head to abetterofficial.com/coffee. There will be a link above and in the show notes below. All right, fantastic. Additional video content is available for you here. Make your choice, choose wisely, and we'll see you in the very next video. Take care.